Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live and I'm Cyril Stover. At the commencement of oil drilling campaign in the north, following the presidential flag-off of the Kolmani Field Integrated Development Project straddling Bauchi and Gombe states, has continued to generate excitement and positive comments from stakeholders in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. Now, some of the industry experts say the successful discovery and swift move by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and its partners to develop the asset up to production would lead to the spread of the national wealth and economic development to the northern part of the country. Kolmani Integrated Development Project is also to attract foreign direct investment of some $3 billion, and already it houses a 120,000 barrel per day refinery, a 500 million standard cubic feet per day gas processing plant, a 300 megawatt capacity power plant, and a fertilizer plant of 2,500 tons per day. Tonight, NTA Tuesday Live will look at the prospects of national wealth and the way forward. But before we go into the discussion, let's see this report put together by our energy correspondent Lydia Sampson.
The feat is significant considering that efforts to find commercial oil and gas outside the established Niger Delta Basin was attempted several times over the years without the desired outcomes. However, the successful discovery of Kolmani oil and gas field by NNPC Limited and our partners has finally broken the jinx through the confirmation of huge commercial deposits of hydrocarbon in the Kolmani River field. The discovery of the oil fields emanated from President Muhammadu Buhari's charge to the NNPC Limited to re-strategize and expand its oil and gas exploration footprints to the frontier basins of Anambra, Dahomey, Sokoto, Benue Trunk, Chad, and Bida basins.
The discovery has now attracted investment for an end-to-end integrated development and monetization of the hydrocarbon resources. As a fully integrated in situ development project comprising upstream production, oil refining, power generation, and fertilizer, the project promises many benefits for the nation.
He explained that the project will be a reference subject for favorable discussion in the industry as Nigeria pursues a just energy transition program that will culminate in the country achieving net zero position by the year 2060. Key players across the country who witnessed the flag-off by President Muhammadu Buhari are optimistic of enormous economic growth and development that will continue to benefit the community and the country at large.
Despite the Kolmani River being the territorial demarcation of the borderline between Alkaliri local government area of Bauchi State and Akko local government area of Gombe State, there is no conflict. No tension.
I think it's something commendable and we must congratulate Mr. President. This is fantastic.
I believe that will really improve on the economy. It will improve on our social well-being. It will give employment to the youth. All our dreams have come true. So I believe this new discovery is a stimulant to national economy.
I guarantee you and I guarantee any investor coming that he should feel free and operate his business.
So it's very, very significant and it will add a lot of value to the economic development of this country.
Oil and gas experts are unanimous that the project is game-changing.
The commencement of drilling of Kolmani fields, which could hold as much as 1 billion barrels of crude oil, will significantly contribute in boosting our oil reserves and ensuring a continuous energy sufficiency.
This discovery has enabled the understanding of the frontier basins in the reef system from Nigeria, with potentials for further large-scale finds.
Committed and capable of delivering on the expectations of over 200 million Nigerians.
The inauguration of the project, they say, puts an end to doubts whether oil and gas resources could ever be found in the north. It will also halt the stagnancy of Nigeria's oil reserves. This is perhaps why many see it as a lifeline from the Buhari administration. The project promises many benefits for the nation. This includes but not limited to energy security, financial security, food security, as well as overall socio-economic development for the country. The optimism over the opportunities presented by the drilling of first oil in the northeast is palpable, and according to the provisions of the production sharing contract, while the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is the concessionaire of the blocks, the NNPC Exploration and Production Limited and New Nigeria Development Company Limited are the contractors. In addition, AOML Consortium signed a strategic partnership with the contractors to provide funding and technical capabilities for the integrated oil and gas development project to be compensated from the contractor's profit after commencement of operations. The project comprises an in-situ integrated development plan which guarantees evacuation and monetization route for the hydrocarbon in the location. The first phase of the integrated development project will entail an oil refinery of up to 120,000 barrels per day capacity, a gas processing plant of up to 500 million standard cubic feet per day, a power plant of up to 300 megawatt capacity, and a fertilizer plant of 2,500 tons per day. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson.
And that report sets the tone for tonight's discussion. I'd like to introduce our guest to you. Let me welcome His Excellency, the Governor of Gombe State, Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya. Mr. Governor, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure joining you tonight.
Right.
I'm happy to meet you.
Let me also introduce Professor Ken Ife, a development economist. Prof, good to have you with us tonight.
Me.
Also welcoming Kana Ahmed Abubakar, a geologist. It's nice to have you tonight. At the appropriate time, we'll once again acquaint you with the procedure for this program. Some point of it will be interactive. It means you can join in the discussion. But for now, let's also introduce another of our guests tonight who is joining us via Zoom from Kaduna, Engineer Kolmani Muhammad, a former NNPC workers representative. Good to see you, Kolmani.
Since a long time. How are you?
Good. Right. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good. All right. So, huge prospects. Oil in the north. Mr. Governor, Gombe is joining the League of Oil-Producing States. What does that make you feel?
Well, Cyril, I really feel happy, and I should feel happy for so many reasons. The obvious parts that the discovery of oil will mean the development and operation of businesses, and we need businesses in order, to provide opportunities, not only for the people that are within the environment, but even people that are far away. And the fact that NNPC Limited and another company, SIPCO, have joined hands, plus the NNDC and all the other contractors that they've engaged, it means already we've seen signs that there will be a very big window and opportunity for our youth who are unengaged and are looking for where and how they can fix themselves. In addition, there is an opening for industries to pick up, since it is an integrated development. There will be a refinery, as we rightly mentioned. There will be a fertilizer plant. There will be the processing through a plant as well for gas, 500 million cubic feet of gas daily, and generation of power. You are talking of 300 megawatts, which will be a trigger as well for other industries, knowing fully well that power is the greatest problem or challenge that manufacturers and industries are facing in the economy. So if you join all, it's a blessing. But it's a blessing if we are able to manage and use the experiences we got down the Niger Delta, pertaining to either drilling, the exploration, drilling, and the operations. We will definitely have to sort all those problems before we enjoy the benefits. So much as we see it as a blessing, we must do the needful in order to address the issues that will make us see to its success, so that we will operate and will move positively as we project and move forward, trying to catch up with the rest of the developed world. Nigerian economy needs a breathing space. We need to expand so that all of us will cling on it and project the country forward, so that there will be people will live in prosperity and there will be happiness, rather than what we are experiencing now, suffering in penury and pains.
All right. Well, keeping in mind the experiences of the Niger Delta, we will come to that as the discussion progresses. But let me go over to Professor Ken Ife. And yes, we hear this is an integrated approach. Take us through, would you, this concept of integrated approach?
This is the most beautiful part of this, the level of integration. You have an integration of the upstream, midstream, and downstream, and it's all in one location. So you save on so many things. You don't need, kilometers and hundreds of kilometers of pipeline. You don't need duplication of, and in fact, so integrated that you can even generate the power which it needs. I was congratulating the governor just a few minutes ago, because I know he worked so hard in even getting 1,000 hectares of industrial park. Now the power for the industrial park is just next door. So it is something that not only that will create employment, but it will create massive downstream opportunities. Other industries are going to be going there. And then it gives us a geographical diversification of an existing array of mineral resources that we have. So it's no longer Niger Delta, but you now have it in the middle of the country. And that also is in the trough, in the Benue troughs, which means there are many more yet to be discovered. And this 1 billion barrel will increase, obviously, as we invest in exploration. And one good news, actually, is that the PIA created this hydrocarbon tax that allows 30% of it to go to frontier basins. And this is very significant, because not only that you empower more exploratory activities all along there, from there to Lake Chad area, but also along other river basins. And this is one of the reasons why you are having a very high rise and persistent rise in the price of crude all over the world. It's because people are not investing in exploratory activities. So the volume of reserves that have been stated is going down, because there are no more investments. People are now, saying that, well, all this crude thing will stop in the late 2030, but Nigeria has made adequate provision. So we are going to be provisioning more exploratory activity, discovering more wells in where it matters, and then connecting the T's and then dotting the I's. So it's very, very welcome. I tell you, very, very interesting concept.
We'll come to many more ways, but at this point, let's bring in the geologist, Kana Ahmed Abubakar. Was it a surprise that the efforts eventually paid off to discover oil in the north of Nigeria? I mean, for all those years, the belief was that oil was only to be found in the Niger Delta region. And even when efforts started, there were attempts to to investigate if there could be prospects of oil exploration in the north. Quite a number of people felt it was a waste of resources and that it would never come to fruition. Was it a surprise to you?
And the question is coming to the right person. If you go back the preview of the exploration in the Middle Drainage Trough, it started in the early 90s. And the good news is that it started in the early 90s by some of our local professionals in the country. People like Chief Ario, who was the general manager, exploration in the Chevron at that time. So having known the literature of that area and then the possible potential of that area, he convinced his management for a field trip in that area. Having done that, they detailed Dr. Emil Fordley and then Professor Akande, Professor Dada, who are still alive in this country. Then kick-started and then drafted the geology of that area. Those are the early workers in that area around Department of Geology, University of Jos. So that was a starting point where eventually, having done the preliminary work, that now gave confidence to the international oil majors to come into the Upper Benue. So at that time, when they came, the concession was given to 3 companies, ELB, Chevron, and Shell, which they work around Bajoga, some work in where we have gotten it now, and then some around Azari. Having done that, they are given permits to go into exploratory drilling, which they did at that time around 1997-98. And the technology at that time was believed that that area is a gas terrain, and the investment at that time, it was not worth doing. Most of if it is a gas terrain, we have a lot of proven reserve of gas within the Niger Delta. Why should we put in money in that place? So with the coming of this administration, it has been a sort of a game changer in such a way that it came with the political will and with the contemporary technology, which were able to struck the wild card 2 years ago, and then finally the Kolmani. So I want to congratulate President Buhari as icing the cake by drilling this proven reserve in the Kolmani. So my advice now is that we should also explore the other aspect of the Upper Benue, the Zambu Ridge, the Wangila Arm, which were earlier exploited by the 3 companies at earlier measure, so that the more the merrier. And then if we are to relate to ours with the contemporary technology, we have just gotten just 4 wells within the Kolmani. If you relate it to the United States of America, within the last 10 years, they did average of 25,000 wells a year. So it means we have not started. But the game changing now is, and the model we have adopted is the EC2, which Prof has just elucidated by saying everything is going to be within a sort of localization industry within that area. And that has been the practice from 1859 in the US, which have led to then being one of the big 3 in the whole world in terms of oil exploitation. So these are some of the game changing. So another thing again is that we have to change our land use acts, because if we are to go by the US, why they have more number of wells is because the land use act is not like ours, which you say the land belongs to the state government. No, in there, wherever you are able to find a mineral, what is in the ground, what is on the surface, and what is even above the air belongs to that individual. So you are supposed to sign with a prospective investor, come and drill, although there is a percentage they are supposed to give to the government. If there are other investors, they can also key in. That's why in the US, you have over 2,500 families enjoying directly from their wealth. You have over 5,000 people also enjoying by investing into such wealth. So if we can relax some of our land use, automatically it is going to encourage more investors in that area, so that the country that is more richer are countries that have highest number of proven reserve, what we call preliminary reserve, supplementary, and then proven reserve. So the more the merrier. So that's why, as we speak, United States has over 600,000 wells. In Nigeria, I cannot say we're even close to that. So the whole thing is that the game changing is we have gotten the political will. We shouldn't go to the wrong starting that we had in Niger Delta that put us in the present quagmire. That's
okay. So many things are coming out. Let's flip over to other guests who's joining us via Zoom from Kaduna, Engineer Kolmani. So, what are your impressions about the efforts and how it eventually paid off? Of course, you are aware that this didn't start yesterday. At some point in time, it didn't seem as if there was any point in continuing. And of course, you heard the other guests say this is good reason why exploratory activities should be extended to other areas. What are your impressions?
Oh, my impressions are fantastic and great, Mr. Siristoba. You see, I've been a worker of NMPC in the last 2 decades, and this oil prospecting only takes place in Niger Delta. And some of our staff that time will be saying there is no oil in the north. And we kept telling them, look, if Libya has oil, Chad has oil, and Niger, you don't see any reason why in the north here there should be no oil. And they started, exploration for oil in the north in the last 20 years. They kept saying, those southerners, you can't mention names here, they kept saying that the government has been wasting money. There is no oil in the north or gas. Today, I think we have been vindicated. And we need to actually commend Mr. President for the management of NMPC for this one roster of making sure that the oil that's now gotten at Kolmani, that is, it has become a reality, and everybody is happy. But the problem is, there are some elites up to tomorrow, they are not happy with this development because Mr. President has broken the jinx of economic politics. I mean the oil politics. So, as I'm telling you, Mr. Siristoba, this development will actually go a long way, as my other colleagues have mentioned. It will actually give millions of jobs. And to be candid, this oil that has been, that we got in the north now, it traverses between Gombe and Bauchi State, which is about 1,000 kilometers to the bight of PD. That is fantastic. And some people, those critics, they have been saying NMPC laid a pipe from Niger Delta to Kolmani, and that they don't believe there is oil here. The reality, the die is cast, and the reality is on the ground. So all we are saying now, they should come to Kolmani and find out the true position of what is happening there. And we hope the Sterling Company and NMPC and the NNDC and NMPC will not rest in their house to make sure that they continue to explore this oil for the benefit of all Nigerians. It's not only for the north. So I see no reason why some elites should not be happy about this development. And we are urging Mr. President to, as a matter of urgent, strident, urgent note of urgency, to go back to Mr. Siristoba. You are from Niger State. I'm happy to announce to you that the analysis on Bidatro has been completed, and we hope that of Sokoto too and Benotro, before this this government exists, we should be able to have all those frontiers, those oil from the north being exploited, so that me and you go back to Niger State. I would like you to leave NTA so that we put our hands together and make sure that we don't, when the oil is being developed, we will make sure we will not allow the restiveness that has been happening in Niger Delta and oil bunkering, me and you, by the grace of God, we can stop it. So far so good. We are happy, and the gas that we have there, about 500 billion cubic feet, is enough for us to use those gases through the AKK pipeline, where all our industries that are dead in the north will come back to life. Millions of jobs will be created, and we are good to go. So, and me and you, Mr. Cristobal, we have to go and make sure we have our own modular refineries in major states,
All right.
so that we can service the North Central
Okay.
and the country in general.
All right, Engineer Kolmani Mohammed. We'll also look at the prospect of perhaps someday discovering oil in commercial quantities in Niger State. It's a prospect we should look forward to. I do agree with you, but let's come back to Mr. Governor, who's here with us, Gombe State. Now, Bauchi, this whole to the Kolmani oil fields, it's between these two states, and earlier on, you talked about the experience of the Niger Delta. Even up to the present day, there are still issues of litigations between states, of who owns what. With that at the back of your mind, what do you see with Bauchi and Gombe? I heard the governor of Bauchi State say there is no problem, there are no issues, even though this discovery has been made in a place between the two states. Let's hear from you.
Well, I think he really set our minds, not only us as governors, but as a people. If you take yourself back to history, even before the creation of Nigeria, Bauchi and Gombe were an integral part of the Sokoto Caliphate. Before the conquest of the north, the caliphate by the Europeans, and eventually, going through the colonial era until independence. And by the time Nigeria got independence, we were all in the northern region. And that still continued even after the creation of states. When the Northeast was created, the whole of Bauchi, Gombe, Taraba, Adama, inclusive of Borno, 6 states, were within the Northeast. Development further went ahead and states were further created. We went to Bauchi. Gombe and Bauchi were one. And entirely Taraba and Adamawa were all equally on the one side, and Yobe and Borno, meaning 3 states, but eventually we ended with 6. That did not separate us. We are like Siamese twins, somehow, or twins, so to say, identical. And our people are one. So the relationships predates even the creation of Nigeria. And as a result, even in those days, the Caliphate days, Bauchi and Gombe were distinct, because Bauchi was under, Yakubu, and Gombe was under Bube. They were all the flag bearers of the show, and everybody had his own territory. Meaning, since pre-independence or pre-colonial days, the boundaries are distinct and clear. So whatever comes in, that notwithstanding, we should be able to, manage ourselves. After all, oil is in the exclusive list, meaning it belongs to the Republic of Nigeria, and it is the people of Nigeria that are going to enjoy it. Where I think we need even to focus more attention on is for us to ensure that our people get the benefit, through the openings that will facilitate them, engaging and operating with whoever is coming elsewhere. Nigeria being a capitalist country, it means we must attract investment. We must facilitate the flow of investment and fast track and facilitate businesses to thrive well, so that there will be economic opportunities, not only in oil and gas, but in all the other sectors, so that along the line, people will benefit from it. I don't think, and I don't anticipate, that there will be any problem, as rightly the governor of Bauchi said. And if you go back to history, we have been one people. Going forward, we shall continue to be one people. What I will encourage us to do is to ensure that the people really are updated on a daily basis. We give accommodation because we need to be our brothers' keepers. And beyond that, we need to, go by the rules. And there should be due process in whatever we do, especially with the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act. Already, the NNPC Limited and some other companies are benefiting from that. There is provision for the producing communities. There is provision for exploration, which is another attraction. And there is provision for the NNPC to operate as a private sector company rather than a public sector like parastatal or government that really doesn't go along the business lines. I think that alone is enough to give us comfort. And if we facilitate our people to hang within the value chain for drilling, processing through the refineries, marketing and distribution and whatever, there should be no cause for alarm and everybody will be happy. Particularly since the state governments and the federal government are working hand in hand to ensure that the effects on the environment are really controlled and operations are really within the framework of law and order as enshrined in the Constitution and in the business environment.
All right, thanks so much. Professor Ken Ife, I'd like to return to the matter of the integrated approach. Now, how is this different from what had been done in the past? Now that you have this integrated approach, how is it different, and what would be the advantages over how things had been done in the past and how they're going to be done now?
Monumental economic opportunities that will be unleashed by this. First of all, our reserve, OPEC allows us 445,000 barrels a day for domestic refining. And this capacity of 120,000 means that 1/3 of that capacity will be utilized. Now, if Dangote turns the tap on and this Kolmani brings the refined product, we don't have any business anymore with importing PMS. And not only that, we'll just kiss goodbye to this, I don't know how to describe that activity because, people have given it all kinds of names. But look at 500 billion naira every month government has to go and borrow to subsidize the shenanigans going on in exporting crude, crude swap to refiners abroad, not giving the $3 billion every month to CBN so that they can disburse 1.8 billion. And look at the whole so let's not go there because it's a show of shame. But this corrects that shenanigan. The second thing, of course, is we already have experience, over 40 years experience in the oil industry. So that's why Ghana has to come to Nigeria to take a leaf, borrow a leaf from our experience. So we have experience in the oil industry to actually make sure that this is going to work. Thirdly, we have PIA that has delivered a new NNPC to us, which is the private sector. So they are going to be a different animal running this show, which means that they will now have capacity to engage as much PPP, as much engagement of private sector to ensure that we actually get an efficient production and refining system in place. Number 5, we have experience in local content. So all the things that have gone through over 45 to 50 years in turmoil in the Niger Delta, we don't have to go all that. We'll put that behind us, and the communities have a regulatory framework, tested, operational, local content board. It will start happening from day one. The other number 6 is pipelines. You don't need pipelines. Where piping to where? So there cannot be any issue of busting the pipeline and creating nefarious pollution around the area. You don't have all that opportunity because it's all happening in an integrated context. So many of the where are you shipping oil to? We're not shipping any crude abroad to anywhere. We are refining our crude. Now that's a different model from what was going on in the southern belt, because we are producing crude going through the creeks. A security situation there is difficult to manage, and then the pipeline vandalism. People are taking us how many years 10 years to discover that there are so many connections off the pipe. So you don't have any of this. So it is a monumental economic gain for us.
We'll just flip next to a geologist who is in-house tonight with us, Kana. Oil exploration does come with its own challenges, of course, to the environment and so many other things. From what Nigeria has been through since it first started on this journey, what would be the takeaways as you look to oil business in the north?
Very much for that question. What I would say is that for the oil from 1956 up to now, most of the ups and downs have been learned. In terms of capacity, we've gotten all the necessary training and all the legal framework is encapsulated in the PIA. So having said this, what I can only say is that the issue of pipeline is not there again. So issue of boosting of the pipe then leading to seepages is not going to be there. And then the advantage again is that with having the oil within the Gombe area, already we are having the Gombe depot in that particular corridor. It means that in order to not to leave those particular infrastructure following, that will also still be a pipeline, but it's going to be a short distance between that particular area and then the existing pipeline, and then possibly to connect from the Gombe up to the Biu and then up to Maiduguri, because we are having depots there. These are infrastructures that are there. We cannot say because we are already having this modular system, then we will completely discard this particular area. So the lesson is that with the technology, current technology, state-of-art technology in terms of pipeline surveillance, we should be able to deploy it so that we don't allow this existing critical national asset to follow. We are also having Yola Depot, which is almost contiguous with that particular area. And to go back to the earlier question which is asked His Excellency in terms of contestation between the two states, petroleum is not found where it is formed. That's what we call petroleum migration. And the good news is that the petroleum in that particular area, the source rock is the Pindiga formation, which traverses between two local governments in that area, and possibly because it's contiguous to the Figa Shelf. So it means with more work, we are going to have more additional wealth traversing the whole of the area up to Numan, up to the Gongular formation. So it means we are going to have more number of wells with pipeline just cluster within the area that will be able to serve the need of that particular area. Then eventually, if the wells are in excess, we can still have a backflow because there's a pipeline from Gombe up to Jos Depot up to the Kaduna refinery. So I will indulge that Kaduna refinery, the current oil we have, is it compatible with Kaduna refinery? If yes, there is compatible with that, we can also still, if we have excess, we can have a backflow. But with the current technology of monitor of pipeline, which from the information we have gotten, there's going to be any pipeline seepages that what is ongoing during the pumping of the refined material from Kaduna to Gombe and then to Maiduguri. So that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, speaking of compatibility, here's where we should bring in Engineer Kolmani Mohammed. You just heard the geologist talk about compatibility. Yes. So this is your turf now, right? So take us through the process here.
Yeah, what the geologist is saying is that with the oil now in the north, it will be. Are you hearing me, Mr. Cecilio?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So the issue of pipeline vandalism between the north and other parts of the country will be reduced since we have our own oil. And it is also what he's saying is that all the existing pipelines cannot be abandoned. We can still use them to pump products while surveillance is, with the new technology, is being carried out. But before then, I mentioned that we have oil in Bida Basin. You are talking of commercial quantity. We have oil in Bida, main channel of River Niger is in commercial quantity, and very soon NNPC will also go there to, do groundbreaking ceremony for that. That's for your information. Then Professor mentioned about the shenanigans that have been happening in the issue of importation of refined products and other things. I think as somebody who has worked in NNPC and who is still there monitoring the activities, I think they are doing everything now is very transparent, and there is honesty and sincerity in the management of everything there. So all we need, all hands must be on deck to make sure that we support the new NNPC, where it is independent to carry out businesses and then get money for Nigeria so that it will bring it back for development of infrastructure and other things. So, but the issue of all these governors, like my governor mentioned, that he said earlier that NNPC is independent, and that's why all those people crying foul that in the last 6 months NNPC has not been transferring money to FAC. They have been sharing this money. All these governors must have to diversify, as one of the professor mentioned. Industrialization, they must look inwards. We have solid minerals in this country. So free money is no more there. What NNPC will be doing now, after transacting businesses, they will get money while they pay tax to the government. I think it should be at the back of our mind. Before you even call me on this program, some people have written petition that even Mr. Mefele said no more money going to the federation account. I think we should know that as per now, NNPC is independent, and it's not like before that all the politicians will go and dip their hands in their treasury to be, taking money as anyhow. It's no more. We need to support them. Then on the issue of refineries, we thank God that this administration, before they go, Port Harcourt refinery now is about 90% completed. We almost have completed. And we know Kaduna refinery, the wood are already coming Kaduna now, they are already bringing their equipment for total rehabilitation. So I think with the Dangote refinery, as the professor mentioned, and the 120, 1,000 barrels will be getting from Kolmani, we are good to go. The sky is our limit. We will be refining our product here in Nigeria. There will be no too much importation. It's not going to be eliminated totally, but 80% will be done in-house here. And all the people that are saying when we start refining, it's going to be Uhuru. It's not going to be, because how do you refine your product? How much dollar does it take you? How is it sold in the international market? So I think what we are supposed to do is to support the government to make sure that all these goodies they put forward for us now become a reality. And I believe with the new management in NNPC, with the zeal the president has put in place now, Nigeria, the sky is going to be the limit for us.
All right. Let's come back to Mr. Governor now. Gombe is a potential agriculture destination. Matter of fact, earlier on today, you were at the presidential launch of RAMP. That's the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And you spoke on behalf of the governors and how important this project is, which will facilitate transportation infrastructure, help to guarantee food security, and generally improve the living standards of the people. Now, with the discovery of oil and exploratory activities. Going by what happened to Nigeria in the past, when oil was discovered and agriculture took the back seat immediately. What are you projecting, and what are the lessons that have been learned from that? And as you move towards this ramp project, with oil now on the side, how will these be integrated?
I think I've mentioned that we must learn from the mistakes of the past, particularly with regards to how oil, spoils both the Nigerian economy and the social and economic relationships of the people down its operation area. The south. And the ramp you mentioned is entirely for the support of rural economy, which is largely agro-based, knowing fully well that the majority of the people in the rural areas are farmers, and it is aimed at providing means of utilizing the agricultural produce and livestock produce to be facilitated through good means of transportation and access to market, and equally linking with the other sectors of the economy. The relationship between oil and agriculture, yes, they all come from the ground. Agri needs the ground, equally oil. You have to drill the ground before you get to oil and connect through the linkages of transportation to take it to either the refinery or whatever. Already the inherent benefits that we can obtain from the refining process and the industries aligned to it, like the fertilizer, is going to have effect too, because instead of going to far places, 2,500 tons of fertilizer daily is quite huge enough, to support agricultural productivity in the areas, the vicinity. And with good transportation, especially as the engineer mentioned, with the facilities already on ground, the infrastructure of pipelines that links the Kaduna side from Gombe to Maiduguri and backwards through Bauchi to Jos up to Kaduna, and even further out to Sokoto through Zamfara side, which means the operations will have limitless and boundless opportunities around. But the environmental impact has to be considered, so that at the end of the day, you take care of devastation that will arise as a result of loss of vegetational cover and the impact through maybe breakages possible, because by mistake they could happen. But I want to guarantee, and as rightly mentioned that time, that will ensure that the people around the environment cooperate and even safeguard all those assets, because that's one of the factors that will occur. If we don't break pipelines, there may not be leakages that will impact on the agricultural land. And for the people that are there, they will be carried along the way of understanding the dynamics that will make them to safeguard and protect the investment, because they are aligned to it and they are benefiting from it. So I don't believe agric will suffer if enough care is taken and protection is given to the operations of the oil prospectors and miners and all the operations of the industry around the value chain. There should be interrelationships, and all those relationships should be managed in order to comply with international best practices. And I believe with the training and the support of the locals, through the efforts of government and the traditional institution up north, it may not be as difficult as we experience in the south.
Well, Professor Ken, if we take off from that point and look at the other side of the coin, there are those who would say, well, fossil fuels, they come with so much challenge, and now the world is talking about moving away from fossil fuels and hydrocarbons. And Nigeria is discovering more oil fields. Is there a contradiction here?
Red hearing, because we've been through this. Now, are those same foreign countries not going back to coal because of the Russian-Ukraine crisis? No, look, we have to focus on our own development. We have to prioritize our own development. And in fact, why I'm so happy about this Kolmani is that we are going to produce for us to consume. We are not going to be in a race to carry crude to go and sell abroad and then make sure that the political economy of exporting that crude ends up destroying our own capacity to refine the product. I mean, that's what I call the shenanigan. Here, it will be foul. And in fact, to tell you the truth, with the work the governor has done on his 1,000 hectares of land, that will become little Taiwan. I'm telling you, because you've got everything that you need to power. I took some people to him, the biggest Chinese mega industrial estate owner. He built 68 mega industrial estates. I introduced him to the governor. He liked the place. Now that if he hears that he's got what he's got now, that place will be Taiwan, because every industry will be rushing there, because you're going to have continuous power, no interruption. You're going to have every product that is coming out from there, all there on the spot. I haven't seen this kind of a situation where everything that could happen all come and converge at the same time, and they're all positive. So the economy, if you look at the economy of production, the economics of production of any of these elements like hydrocarbons or gas or methane or propane or LPG gas or gas compression or gas liquefaction or refinery or petrochemical, everything will be so positive and convergent that you cannot see any such economy anywhere in the region.
Kana Ahmed Abubakar, again, the governor talked about the environment, environmental impact. If this is not managed the way it should be, this is a challenge for other parts of the country, and not just where oil has been discovered. Nigeria is said to be very rich in other mineral deposits too, and of course you from Nasarawa, you are well aware of that, and you know what's going on in that axis. So with that experience, what are your thoughts on that?
You have said I'm from Nasarawa, and Nasarawa have similarity with Gombe, because Gombe, Census Stricto, has two geology. They have the sedimentary basin, which is harboring the oil, and they have the basement complex, which harbors a lot of base metals and so many metallic minerals. The governor co-attests to that. So the game changing which the West is trying to constrict us to go is a lithium mineral, which they have in Gombe. So the good news is that Gombe and Nasarawa discovering of oil, because we also have the same potential, just like Mr. Kilani is saying of the Nupe Basin. We also have that in the Kiana, and then the southern Kiana. We also have that potential, and the work is still ongoing. But the good news between these two states is that the terrain in these two states is different from that of the Niger Delta. That Niger Delta area is marshy, and that they don't have much land mass like we have here that we can play around with. And then with the lesson we have gotten from those other areas, and in this particular area, most of our people, over 50% of our people are agriculture, agrarian areas. So they know the sociology of our people in this area is different from the people in down south. It's not that I'm insulting people from the down southern part of the country. I don't think we are going to have such kind of preponderance of trying to puncture, because you know that most of your life is on agriculture. We don't have creeks like they have in the Niger Delta, where it will pollute their own farm. You know, the rivers, but our is just flat area for farming. So if we puncture the pipeline, it's going to spoil our agricultural produce. Then the issue of the other minerals, the minerals are there. So the advice is that as we are making profit from this particular area, we should use it to develop the other mineral sector, and then trying to do value addition within the area before we offtake overseas, instead of the current practice what is going on. Most of these Chinese people, which Professor Iki has mentioned, a lot of them come for the mining sector, doing what we call scavenging. They don't go through the normal standard practice of what we call lease period to start the standard prospecting up to the issue of the environmental impact, the issue of community social responsibility, and all of you. These are some of the things that will eventually come to Gombe and Nasarawa, and I think we have gotten lessons from there. And then in terms of the agriculture, What is the key thing in terms of agriculture? Apart from land is already there. Issue of fertilizer, the governor has said it. Once the fertilizer is at its closed door, automatically we are going to subsidize agriculture at the point of production. Just like what is happening in Egypt, they subsidize agriculture at the point of production. So the lesson again, the issue of the climate change you are talking about, the issue of moving into the green energy, that is international politics. International politics in the sense that we've been sort of a capture. Nigeria has been captured even from 1968. Nigeria, in terms of even energy needs, we used to produce our oil from our energy from coal and even our locomotives. As soon as we were able to commission the Kanji Dam, we discarded our coal. But Russia, even some part of UK, Australia, even China, up to date, if not even the issue of the Ukraine crisis, they are still using the coal as source of power. I was in Egypt 2 weeks ago for climate change, and I presented a paper in southern Egypt in Aswit University. A paper was presented as we speak. The power generation in Egypt, 50% comes from gas. There's some percentage from coal, then from other renewable energy. So, and you are saying, like Nigeria now, we have not even reached that of Egypt, and Egypt got oil before us. And you are saying we should discard our oil and then go because they have already set target for themselves, 2025, 2030, they are going to smart cars. Certainly, it's a very big joke. We cannot be able to put ourselves into such kind of self-capture by the international conspiracy. We cannot do that. So certainly, most of this will have advantage. We have the population of over 210 million. So eventually, the advice to the power that be, the governors, is that most of these Chinese that come into the country are local government companies, and they come to this country with their handbags of take our things, take it to overseas, do the value addition and bring it here. So the advice is that you must set such companies here. Even if our own people are going to set it here, we have to do the value addition before we take out of the country. So the issue of coal, just like Gombe has also coal, Ashaka, maybe for information purposes. When the refinery stopped working in this country, one of the product for the production of processing of cement in Ashaka was getting the black oil from refinery. Since our refinery were in Kwagmia, they had to do exploration and they were able to get coal within Gombe area, which is being used for the processing of the cement in that place. So automatically coal is not something that you just throw. Even the oil, getting the oil now is a very big changer in terms of even the political dynamics in this country. So I'm very happy for Gombe State and including Nasarawa State. So
thank you very much, Kana Ahmed Abubakar, the geologist. At this point, we'll take one of our reports which we have here. This one is by Emmanuel Akila and it's from Gombe.
This ceremony brings to an end speculations on the existence of crude oil in northern Nigeria.
We are pleased with the current discovery of over $1 billion of oil and gas and 500 billion cubic feet of gas within the Kolmani area.
These numerical quantities would soon translate to amounts of money that can impact on the well-being of Nigerians, with the Kolmani oil field communities having high expectations in the prospects. From the time it was said that there is crude oil in our area, we believe that we shall have roads and water. That has been our prayers, that our leaders will do it for us. We expect good schools and hospitals in our communities.
If there is anything the people in the locality can do, there is no point bringing somebody from Port Harcourt or Lagos to come and do it here. Because that's what our people will benefit from.
With Gombe State now in the club of oil-producing states in Nigeria, what development experts will be looking out for is the kind of policies and strategies the state government will come up with in managing resources to change the landscape of the jewel in the savannah.
That 13% they will be sharing it with Gombe. If the revenue is well utilized for infrastructural development, Gombe will be entirely different. The schools will be better off. I can give you an example of some of the states like Rivers that are doing wonders with what they receive. So we are expecting Gombe to be the same. Now, in terms of employment, our citizens will be employed.
The economist also harps on security and social justice as critical ingredients the government should pay attention to if the people are to enjoy the benefit of being among the oil-producing states in Nigeria.
All right, Emmanuel Akila in Gombe. And we have this other report from Bauchi by Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad.
The multi-million-dollar Kolmani oil exploration is on. These heavy machines are on site carrying out the accurate drills for oil and gas exploration in one of Nigeria's frontier basins. It is a mega project and promising one for the communities, the states, and Nigeria as a nation.
Financial security, food security,
The project is in its first phase and entails the establishment of 120,000 barrels per day oil refinery, a gas processing plant of up to 500 million standard cubic feet, a 300 capacity megawatt power plant, and a fertilizer plant of 2,500 tons per day.
It is light, meaning that it has less amount of sulfur, so it means that the refining is not going to be difficult. And again, it's going to contain a lot of forest.
Has a lot of economic impact in the community. And if you look at it politically, if you look at the political economic point of view, it has a kind of we are in a country whereby we live in a competitive democracy. We play competitive politics, where countries or states are being categorized based on their contributions to the national economy. And with this is discovered now, the position of Bauchi and Gombe now, as what they contribute to the GDP of the country now will change.
The exploration is taking place 200 not even from the Abuja state capital, in an area where the local farmers are headed.
Bada da mu da yaran mu muna bukata kuma mu tafi ma a samu a cikin wannan aiki kar a bar mu haka ashe mu muna bukata mu safi da gudunmawa mu zaman lafiya duk wanda zo aiki a nan wurin mu da shi muna so mu tafi da shi da lafiya da zaman lafiya ba ma so tashi hankali ya faru kamar da muke da saurare.
However, stakeholders believe if fully utilized, it will be of greater interest to Nigeria and the host communities.
Well, citizens should have a piece of the action there. That report by Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad. And we'll take a short break here. When we return, we'll open the phone lines, and that means you can get to contribute to the discussion in the studio. So stay with us on NTA Tuesday Live. We'll be back shortly.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is the station that I want to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportation. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause. NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Right, thanks for staying with us. And this segment, the phone lines will be open and you can get to join in the discussion in the studio. We always remind you about this every Tuesday. If you're calling in tonight and your call gets through to the studio, do us a favor, turn down the volume of your TV set. That's the way to avoid the hurlback or the echo. We also like to encourage you to go straight to the point, not worry too much about the greetings. A simple hello would be just fine. And we ask that you keep it straight to the point so others can also get on the platform and air their views. So, it's all about the latest discovery of oil in the Kolmani fields, somewhere between Bauchi and Gombe states. And the governor of Gombe state is here with us. And Mr. Governor, in your earlier submissions, you talked about regular briefings of the people. Yes, oil is on the exclusive list, but they are your people. You're a citizen of Gombe state. And so the regular engagements that you talked about, what is the strategy for that, and how soon are you starting off with those regular engagements to sensitize the people so that they're aware of what's been found in their backyard?
Well, I think, as rightly mentioned by Mr. Kana, the geologist, he was part of the team, as he rightly mentioned. This, the exploration has been there for close to 40 years now, since the 80s. And as a result of which, there was revelations over time. And no serious government will see such things happening without taking one or two actions that will make us, to align with the process and to ensure that you don't make unnecessary mistakes and you take care of any future possibility. As a result of which, we engage consultants to walk around with us, guide us onto these processes so that we will avoid the mistakes and do the needful. Professor mentioned that already Gombe has provided a 1,000 hectare parcel of land that is not only there, has already all the infrastructure needed for industries to be sited, because there is a power plant, only 40 megawatts in Danyunkwa, and has the capacity to be expanded because we have the potential to generate even, through solar farm, solar energy to add to it. With this one coming now, it means another advantage, 300 megawatts of power joining that. Like he said, the limit is endless. It's going to be another Taiwan. So what we have been doing is to prepare against any possibility. And what we've done so far has given us we've been convinced and we're on the right track, provided the enabling business environment that will make enterprise to thrive, industries to thrive, marketing activities, agricultural activities. Our intention is to link it up. It's only because of, I think, some inner deals are inside. He knows we are supposed to be part of the agro-processing zones that to be cited, for within the 6 geopolitical zones. With or without, we've already prepared. Over 18 billion now has been invested in providing that, industrial park. We are good to go. Working with understanding of the business community and the professionals that are guiding us, we prepared and we shall continue to engage. The locals are ready and willing. The Emir has mentioned. Once they see to the fact that you are really guiding them properly and you are giving them enough protection, the nature of our people is that they cooperate because they are eager and they are very enthusiastic about seeing development come to our place.
All right. Well, our calls are coming through. We have Yusuf calling in from Gombe. Hello, Yusuf. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Siri Soba. My name is Yusuf Musa Dambolo. I'm calling from Gombe State. My question goes to the area where we have oil and gas in Gombe State, in Pindiga Emirate, Kaltanga District. So, you are always talking about oil in Gombe, and we have another area that we have a lot of mineral resources as a gas. Where is the geologist that did not talk about Bojude site in Kwame local government? And Kwame have a very large, deep mineral resources. We have gas. We have source of resources that can boost our electricity, that can boost our industries, and we have our visions and future governor that can energize the power of the north, not northeast. You are always talk about northeast. In the whole of 19 northern states, there is no any place that can fight it and say it this an industrial park that can turn thousands of employers, not in the northeast, in the whole nation, that can bring investors to come and invest. So we are appeal for those investors and NNPC to showcase the issue of mineral resources in Bojude, where we have a very large deep. The geologists has already do their survey and it's already there, is dumping redundant. And we have our coal, and the coal in Akko local government in the Ganga area, even our one of the African industry park, that's industry, like that's Ashaka cement, they are using coal to producing cement, and we have to bring all this to join together so that our nation can boost the economic challenge that we have in this country. So in that issue, I call the NNPC, that's Mr. Kenna from Kaduna. Why you are not talking about this issue of 3 parts of the country, like my brother from Nasarawa said, the geologists. We have coal, we have mineral resources, we have Gombe is oil producing state, and you are not talking about the gas. And this gas is a large quantity, is there. Please, we appeal to come and start showcase this, because I believe this government can do justice to the nation. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much, Yusuf. I could see the geologist was smiling all through. Yes, so you'd like to comment on that.
I said it earlier that Gombe has very good coal deposit in that place, and when our refineries went into comatose, they had to go in-house to look for solution, and that was why that particular coal is talking about in Akko, which is just opposed to the Kolmani, was exploited by Dr. Emil Fodley, FNMGS, which serve as a consultant to Ashaka, which they are currently using in that place. Along that area which he mentioned, even the Pindiga is talking about. In Pindiga, maybe additional information, they have gypsum. The gypsum, they have gypsum on that place, which is also another major ingredient for the production of cement in Ashaka. Having said that, petroleum is not found where it is formed. In my earlier presentation, I said the source rock for the petroleum or the Kolmani is from the Pindiga formation, and that village is talking about, Pindiga village, is the type locality. In geology, normally you use a particular name of a village, name of a permanent structure to name a particular formation. So the source rock for the petroleum potential of the Kolmani is from the Pindiga formation, and in Pindiga formation there is what we call petroleum migration. The petroleum could be formed in Pindiga as a source rock, as a type locality, but it will migrate. So it migrates to a trap. A trap could be in between these two local governments, Alkaleri and Akko, which specifically those people that have drilled that well should be able to give this information. And then more work, there's that possibility you could also have wells within the Pindiga as a type locality. These are possibilities, these are different scenarios. And I have mentioned earlier that during the early days of the exploration, which the governor could also allude, that the work also took place up to Bajoga, up to Azere area. The only thing is that currently it has been tied to areas of higher potential with greater technology, possibly, and the relapsing of the Land Use Act, possibly more investors will come to invest in those areas. It could be another game changer. They haven't said that. They have mentioned earlier that Gombe has a lot of base metals and a lot of metallic minerals. And I have advised that the money we are getting from the oil exploitation could also be used to develop the mineral sector. It has happened during the Babangida administration, where Rilwan Lukman was in government. At that time, the then federal government brought a deliberate effort that the profit we are making from the oil and gas should be used in the geological survey of Nigeria to explore for more minerals, which is also continuous, which President Buhari also leveraged on that by doing what we call the Mandeva project, which the federal government of this country has put in over $150 million. Exploration has also taken place in Gombe. About 19 states, flight took place at about 50 meters height, which corresponding data were generated, and they are all domiciled in geological survey in Nigeria. They are already even in the mining cadastre for as mineral blocks for a prospective investor to key in. So as we speak, mineral, yes, is in the concurrent list, but nobody stops the state from venturing into mining. That's why Mr. Governor, I could observe recently, he organized an investment summit in Gombe, which a lot of investors were there, which the state was able to exploit. And I think they have even the mineral company in that state, which government is participating in business during her mineral company. From there, they will be able to key in and partner with very serious investors and key into that area. But my advice earlier, which I mentioned, is as they are keying into that, partnering with most of these international companies, they should be able to do value addition at source before exporting overseas. Instead of trying to now sort of creating jobs for other people out of this country, we should create jobs locally.
Thank you. We have another caller now. Umar from Burning Kabi, a regular caller on this program. Hello, Umar. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Firo. Very good evening to you. My name is Umar Anachi, as usual. You see, I would like to express my gratitude to Muhammad Buhari for his political will. All these things lies with political will. That is why I'm advising Nigerians to put it on the agenda of any political administration that will come in. The exploratory activities, not only oil, all other activities, to put it in the agenda of any administration to exploit our mineral resources. May God continue to bless our country. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Umar Anachi from Burning Kabi. Skip the calls coming through, and yes, whatever issues you raise certainly will be addressed by our guests who are here tonight. Engineer Kolmani Mohammed, you're still with us, right? I believe you're there.
Yes.
Yes. You had the last. Yes, you had the last two callers, particularly Yusuf from Gombe, who went on to make an appeal to the NNPC. Yes, well, you used to be at the NNPC, so I thought you might want to comment on that aspect of his appeal to the NNPC Limited.
Yeah, I think he did the right thing by calling to say he wants NNPC to really assist in those areas. But before then, somebody asked me about compatibility of whether the oil that is found in Kolmani could be used in Kaduna refinery. Well, I know we have light crude and heavy crude. Kaduna uses heavy crude. And the government has already said unequivocally that the crude that is found in Kolmani will be used there because there's going to be an establishment of a refinery and a petrochemical in that area. So I think, I don't think for now, they will send the crude from Kolmani to Kaduna refinery. That's just the answer there. Then secondly, I made mention earlier, even before the geologists, that apart from the oil that is now gotten from Gombe or Kolmani fields, the north has the potential to deliver Nigeria to the promised land. Like, for example, in Kaduna State, Kaduna has over 25 solid minerals in commercial quantity. Niger State, the same thing. If you go to Sokoto, they have uranium. They build a spacecraft with uranium. And if you check almost all the northern states, we have solid minerals in commercial quantities. There's nothing we don't have here in the north. Not even the north, even the south itself, they have solid minerals. So all we need to do, as I've been calling on these governors, because they are very close, they are closer to the people, and they are supposed to produce employment to our teeming youth. All they need to do is to look inwards to make sure that as we are now, they should harness all these solid minerals for them to get more wealth, to develop the north and even Nigeria in general, and also our agricultural base. We know there is insecurity in the north. That's why some of the farmers have abandoned their farms. But in the last 3 months, what the government has done is very tremendous in making sure that all these bandits are eliminated. People are now going back to their farms, and they have even introduced this dry season farming. So I think that has answered Yusuf from Gombe. Then I want to specifically mention that NNPC through the PIA Act has 3% derivation for all oil producing states. Like Gombe now will be getting that 3%, which is even more than the 13% derivation they are giving Niger Deltans now. The only thing is, how is it going to be managed? We hope, as it is in the PIA, the federal government, when it gets that 3%, will be going directly to the communities there to give them schools, health care centers, good roads, portable drinking water, and other essential amenities, so that the area will be properly developed.
All right. Thank you. At this point, I may ask you to pause a while so I can take in this call from Joy in Adama. Oh, Joel, I see. Sorry. Joel, I believe Joel called earlier on, just before we take that. Joel from Adama, go ahead. Joel, are you there?
Yes, Uncle Cyril. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead.
I also say hello to His Excellency Governor Inua.
Thank you there.
And Professor from the other side, and my uncle also from the other side over there. Good evening, all. We are really grateful to God that things like oil exploration is coming to the north. We are very, very sentimental on that. We can say we are really, really grateful to God that God has given us that deposit to enjoy. And we are also being, since we have this deposit, of course, given by God, I hope that our prayer is that I hope that the powers that be, the government and the is it the NNPC or whoever is in charge of the exploration will do justice to, so that there will be equity in the sharing of everything, so that everybody will enjoy it. It's a deposit by God. So let no one be the one taking the big pie, and the other people just suffering from the spillage. Please, like it's happening in the Niger Delta, a lot of people are getting richer over it, while the masses in the community are just suffering. I was in Bras the other time. I pity them, Gaskia. They are suffering. They don't even have land to farm. They don't even have the water to make their fish, their fishing activities. Yet people are scooping very large sums of money out of that place. You people in Abuja are enjoying, living well, and those people over there, they are just suffering. Please, when it comes down here, please let justice be done. Let the masses also enjoy it, please. That is our begging. We are pleading with the government. Let the people in these localities see the dividend of this deposit by God. Please, that is our cry to the powers that be. Have a good day, have a good evening, Uncle Cyril, and Your Excellency, sir. I will come to Gombe, and I believe you will give me a job in Gombe. Now, good day. Thank you, Daddy.
Okay. Well, perhaps Joel will look it out to be part of the oil exploration activities in Gombe. But then he's raised one or two issues here, which I'd like Professor Ken Ife to comment about. All along we've talked about what the NNPC Limited and the companies concerned here can do, as well as the administration. But the other part of it is what has been seen as the ugly side of oil exploration, and quite recently in Nigeria it's been on the front burner, the question of oil theft, where some people have connived to take away the resources without due process. And Joel was speaking earlier on of how this resource should benefit the masses. So, Prof,
the sweetness of our crude that is found there, which is in low sulfur content, means two things. One, it means that you can actually deploy modular refineries, because 20,000 barrels a day will require about $70 million. But if it has high sulfur content, then it will be $100 million, which means you need to have a catalytic converter. So they were lucky that you don't need that. So it will cost as low as $75 million. Two, modular in the sense that you don't really need to gather more crude from so many other. No, you can actually deploy in just one or two heads, just deploy there. So you don't need to build capacity, because it is the big capacities we have, the 4 big refineries we have are so huge that when you talk about maintenance, you're talking about 1.5 billion, 1.2 billion, just to do, it's not here you have small, modular, effective. If you have a lead, if you discover more wells around it, you add another module. So it goes from 75 million plus another 75 million. So from 20,000 barrels to 40,000 barrels or something like that. So you do it incrementally. And even if we come to a point where we need to send crude to Kaduna, why not? We have a co-location arrangement. Somebody can put a small modular refinery there for 20, 30,000 or 40,000 barrels a day and still take the crude. Your pipeline is there. You could say you could do a reverse. So there's nothing that can be ruled out. But what you have zero tolerance for is the issue that we have in the Niger Delta. We don't have those issues. Now, let me tell you why. You know, I talked about political economy. Because we are fixated on having to export crude out of the country, then you played into the hands of political economy. Because you now have people wanting to just send the crude out and then go and refine it there. No longer prioritize local refining. So that means that you have oil marketers who have spent billions of dollars building tank farms in Lagos. So their business is just to get the important thing, and they will destroy anybody that wants to refine in the country. We're not going to go through that model. Here, we are going to produce for our own consumption. We're not going to get into that rat race of having to transport. In fact, if you ever try to deviate from the maximum impact that you have, you know, I told you before that everything, all the factors are convergent and profitable. That is, every aspect of every segment of the value chain of the oil or the gas are profitable and convergent. The moment you begin to plan to move these resources to 3,000 kilometers, you bring transport and logistics, and the costs are so high. Diesel that you need to transport is 800 naira, 400% increase. So don't even go there. Let us put, Nigeria has capacity for 210 million people and another 100 million francophones surrounding us and consuming it. So focus on meeting our own needs, and you will make as much profit as you. If you begin to think go here, go there, you lose the economics, and then it gets more. You get into gray area, and then you lose more profitability.
For now, it will reduce the barriers minimum the question of theft, since what you produce you're consuming right within the country and not sending it out. Let's take on this call. Abdul Salam calling from Gombe. Go right ahead, Abdul Salam. Abdul Salam from Gombe.
Good evening, Mr. Cyril.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I want to greet my governor, Oyuniwa. I want to thank him for the wonderful job he has done in order to make this dream happen. Yeah, because in Gombe we have a lot of potentials. So I want to appeal to the governor, please, when we start getting this 3% reservation, please, this money should be used in such a way that the people of Gombe State will benefit. Even though I know the governor will not be in that place forever, but please, those that are coming after the governor, they should use this money in order to ensure that everybody has benefited, because we don't want to experience what happened in this Delta area that should be happening in Gombe. So that's my appeal. Thank you, Mr. Governor, for this wonderful job you have done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Abdul Salam. The governor is right here. Comment on the last call.
Yeah, I think I just want to reassure not only Abdul Salam, but the whole people. We've given our words. Mr. President, on one or two engagements, not only with me, but with the governor of Bauchi, advised us on so many things that we need to do. And going by the rules of the game, I don't think we shall allow any misuse, because of the framework that's already provided by the Petroleum Industry Act. There's enough for everybody to take care of whatever the producing community, the operators, and the government, state and local. So join together. I think we should live up to our responsibilities. I would like to give our assurance to the entire people, not only of Gombe, but in fact entire Nigeria, because the effect and improvement on the economy is going to be far-reaching. It will spread to the whole of Nigeria. And since earlier on the issue of NNDC has been mentioned, knowing fully well that the NNDC belongs to the entire north, the northern states, and is operating within the model, and it's going to equally impact on the other states. I think the position of governors and the federal government and the NNPC is that we shall see to proper operation on a good framework that will really take care and make prosperity to spread, rather than poverty and penury, as earlier mentioned. So for Abdul Salam and his colleagues and whoever is having that question, please should have no fear, but should be cooperative, because along the line will guarantee that the best is done and people are really going to benefit from it. the most interesting part of it is the balance that is going to be created in the political economy. Seeing that for long, the people up north, the states up north have been seen like parasites. The parasitic view of the oil producing states will change. And I advise that we should be our brother's keeper. There are a lot of operatives in the oil and gas that are from the north already in the south doing so. So if we allow opportunity for whoever has the capacity and the capital, to bring, instead of just relying on foreign direct investment, we should encourage our own people that have, so that the prosperity will spread along the value chain and within the people altogether. I think people should have no fear, and the NPC has given the assurance, especially with the facilitation of the Petroleum Industry Act and the way that Mr. President has conducted himself with resilience, patience, and perseverance and transparency. All this will be considered going forward. So people should have no fear and should be prayerful so that we achieve our aims.
You just spoke about the political aspect of all of this, and in some quarters, one section, one part of the country was seen as a parasite, feeding on the other side without contributing anything to it. Now, this view, as you said, may begin to change. So how do you respond to suggestions that it might have been as a result of that view that the NPC, then as wholly owned by the government, threw in so much money to try to break that, and perhaps the economy was a secondary thought?
In that regard, you must consider that the end result, the end has testified the means. Whatever it took, there is a result now because of perseverance, patience, and the stand of Mr. President, the political will that has been provided. That is what drives the processes. And any leader that is worth his salt will definitely, give support in this regard. The balance is not only on the political front, but it's going to be on the economic front. Since with what is going to happen, every part of the country will now, be contributing. Instead of the other one being seen as a parasite, we are now going to have a symbiotic relationship whereby the right will wash the left, and we move forward.
Back to the phones now. We have Idris calling in from UB. Hello, Idris. Hello, Idris, are you there?
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, Cyril.
Hello, yes.
Hello, Cyril.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead with your comment or question.
Hello, Cyril.
Idris,
I cannot hear you, but
I
let
can
me
hear you.
speak my mind. First of all, I commend the government of APC of Muhammadu Buhari and the governor of Kondo State. I cannot hear you, but I'm with you. I know you can hear me. If you can hear me, fine. Hello? I should go ahead. I'm looking at the screen. I should go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me thank Governor President Muhammadu Buhari as governor of Bauchi and NNPC for doing this good job to Nigerians. My commendation to Governor Yahya, please, while giving job to people, please consider Yobe, because our children are here in Yobe without doing anything. No job, no anything in Yobe. Please, if you are considering people for your job, for the job to the NNPC, please consider our dear state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Idris. Well, it all sounds like it's a floodgate of everyone talking about employment, but there's still a lot of work to be done, and the oil isn't going to start coming out just in the morning. And so there's so much work to be done, putting all this in place while the companies carry out their activities. And of course, the value chain, which is what Professor Kenny Faye has been talking about all evening. But to help us put this in perspective, just before Professor Kenny Faye comes in, we have Dr. Abubakar from Gombe calling in. Hello, Dr. Abubakar from Gombe. Hello? Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Dr. Abubakar Kumo, calling from Gombe. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you. Just go on.
Hello. Good evening, Cyril Stover. Good evening, my able governor, Namajan Governor Mohammed Inohaya. I want to congratulate Nigerians, all of us, for having this great opportunity. I'd like to talk to Professor. I'm also, like his student, I'm also a development economist. I want him to expatiate more for our able governor to know, even though I know he's enterprising, he knows this because of his proactive, gesture by having this industrial park. As if he knew we were going to have oil. What we're trying to say here is concerning the transformation of other sectors to avoid what we call Dutch disease. Dutch disease is a phenomenon, probably will say more about it, that happen in any society where they discover minerals, resources, be it anything, and at the end of the day, instead of same sector to develop other sectors, they abandon it, just like what happened in other climes, and even in Nigeria, you can say something like that. Now, I would like a situation whereby the profit from Kolmani should be used to develop other sectors aside of what is happening in the industrial park we're having. Especially like agriculture, we should have value chain. We have to cluster our farmers, give incentives. Also, like the manto company that was sold in Kumu and other agricultural products we're having, we can decide to use some of these proceeds from the Kolmani area so that we can have income coming to the coffers of government from all quarters. But also, we have to also think about other programs we're having since our able government declared state of emergency in the education sector. Issues like better education service delivery for all, that is about to, or it's already, it has wound up. But then the ownership. Now, thank God, we have this in our own disposal. I would like to suggest to our able governor, I know he can do it, by making sure that we have a continuity with the program so that this issue of out-of-school children that we're having, we should make sure that we keep on reducing it to the barest minimum in Gombe State and Northern Nigeria as well. Then secondly, it has to do with also school feeding. Because of resource constraint, if you look at what federal government is doing, in our own environment here like Northern Nigeria, research has shown that it is very, very encouraging to have that school feeding because it helps the children of the poor to come to school. And now anytime we go for meetings, they ask, what is the state initiative? Each of the states that are doing this school feeding of a thing, what is your state doing? So I think, I suggest here we can also come in by expanding the school feeding up to primary 6 in future. We are talking about by the time we have the process from the command area. So we can expand our feeding so that we can have massive turnout in our schools and we can now go a long way to reduce the out-of-school children. So I think these are the basic things I want to talk about. I will hope and pray that the value chain in the agricultural sector will help the economy of the state and Nigeria at large, so that we don't just rely on the oil alone and abandon other sectors. We need to develop agricultural sector of our state so that we can feed ourselves. Government can come in by partnering in the same sector so that we have value chain. And before you know, inshallah, Gombe State is going to be the economic hub of northern Nigeria, if not Nigeria as well. Thank you so much. And so just back to Gombe, Your Excellency.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Abubakar, who called in from Gombe. Yes, Mr. Governor, would you want to comment on that?
A lot of hopes and, expectations. But it takes all to move together. And the issues to do with not only education, other social services like, provision of quality health care, transportation, inputs for agriculture, and so on and so forth. Government has been doing a lot in that regard, but subject to availability of resources, and once there is a most necessarily prudent and careful management, we should be able to address all those issues, social issues that will uplift the people. That is the primary concern of our government, and we shall continuously do so. I pray that we shall work hard enough to provide good security, good road networks, and the proper business environment that will make enterprises and industries to thrive well, because it is true then that one thing will lead to another, and all of us will hang around the value chain and enjoy proper development. So it's not only in school feeding or education or in health, but along all the sectors, government has to work hard enough to ensure that prosperity reaches the people.
All right, Professor Kenife. Yes.
For the governor, because he is very, very determined. Now I just hope that all this will materialize in his tenure. You see, if you look at the out-of-school children, first of all, there are 133 million Nigerians that are suffering from multiple deprivation. If you look at the National Bureau of Statistics index that came out last week, and you are one of the 6 states that experience the poorest poverty. Unfortunately, you can even see that Bayelsa is even one. And of these 133 million people, 65% of them are from the northern side. But if you look at out-of-school children, 29% of out-of-school children, 25% of the children of school age are out of school. And if you look at those 29% that are out of school, 94% of them are poor. But what I will say is this: if God allows this thing to happen, to materialize, the governor would have no excuse whatsoever to grant free education to all levels of people from the state. All levels, that is from primary to degree. He will have no excuse. Let me explain why he will have no excuse. The state will be getting 500% more chance to deliver than the states in the riverine area, that is in the south region. Why? Take Bayelsa for example. It will cost them 500% more to build a road, because they have to there are some rivers underneath. For them to build a road, it will cost them over 500 million naira to build 1 kilometer of road, because of the river running underneath. They will build, it will collapse, then they'll have to dredge. Do you know how much it's going to cost to remove sand from water before they go? But here in your area, it won't cost you more than 100 million naira to do 1 kilometer of road. Secondly, clearing the dense forest will cost not less than 500,000 naira to clear 1 hectare of dense forest in that area. Whereas in your own, what do you have in your forest? Less than 100,000. In fact, even 50,000 naira per hectare will clear. Even when I look at the economies of production for some of the things that we have at the central bank, it's about 15, 20, 30,000 naira to clear 1 hectare. So you can see that you have more than 500% chance of delivering, all this dividend to your state. Also, it's not 13% derivation that will do it for you. The 3% a host community and affected community money means that you will go to town, not just where the oil was found, but all the communities around there are affected communities. So you have host community and affected community. So there will be a lot. And then you have your what you call it, you have your local content board, which means that the big investors coming to invest in the area will be putting over, almost 40%, something between. You have so much wealth that is going to be concentrated there. So you have no excuse not to have everybody into free education. There will be massive transformation of the social capital, the employment, education, health is all there for the taking.
Thank you very much. So at this point, we prepare to wind down, and so let's go over to Engineer Kolmani Mohammed in Kaduna, and your closing comments as we wind down in just a minute or two.
Okay, just give me 3 minutes. You see, Professor.
I'm afraid we don't have up to 3 minutes.
Okay, Professor, you made a grievous mistake. But, this government has already, made plan to establish modular refineries in this country. It's on ground. That's number one. Number two, the issue of your statistics that you say about 133, million people in poverty. Which criteria did they use to find out that the North, because we are still arguing about that the North is the most poorest. You must have to give me the correct data, the criteria they use to be able to find out that the North is the most poorest in Nigeria. Then on the issue, the question the anchorman asked you about oil theft, you didn't go directly into answering it. In 1983, the army started oil bunkering in this country, and then from 1999 it now strives up to the point that half of our oil has been going to the thieves, politicians, governors, whatnot. All those big wigs are the ones that are stealing our oil. They know them as security agencies. So now NMPC has put in place, they brought in Tampolo. Focados now is back online. We have Escravos is now on, they are producing. So over 900 barrels. And they promise that in the next maybe few months, we will now get the OPEC target. So please, we still need money, hard currency. When you are, modular refinery can only ease, scarcity. But we need money in this country to export crude. So, all Professor, right, you have to do your job very well. I call on all Nigerians to come together so that we will deliver this country to the promised land. Support NFTC, support the government, and then we will take over this government again in 2023.
All right. Thank you very much, Engineer Kolmani Mohammed, who joined us from Kaduna via Zoom. Thank you very much. We appreciate your contributions to this program. Next, let's just get a final word from Kana Ahmed Abubakar, the geologist, quickly, in just under a minute, if you can.
Mine is I want to address the issue of the theft, because the oil we have gotten in Gombe has very low sulfur content and other impurities. It means it will have high theft potential. So my suggestion is that we should go into issue of weigh and measures, instrumentation. We should be able to put meters in such a way that we know what is coming out and what goes out, so that whatever kind of disguise or what kind of masquerading to be able to do the stealing is going to be is going to be taken into cognizance. Then secondly, the issue of the agricultural corridor, which the governor has already done by creating thousands of hectares as agricultural corridor. Certainly, we cannot rely on rain-fed agriculture. We have to go into irrigation. The governor has to take key to what has happened in Libya, which also have the same kind of circumstances. What you have to do there is, and the good news is that the geology where the oil has been found, such areas, groundwater is deep-seated. It means if there's possible spill, it's not going to affect, it's not going to percolate up to down into deep-seated. So I will encourage him, just like that happened in the Nubian sandstone in Libya. He should go into that industrial corridor by drilling deep wells. deep wells, so that in such a way that you have surplus water, so that you have.
I have to ask you to stop at this point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, geologist Kana Ahmed Abubakar. We've just about run out of time on your bit. Thank you. Okay. Well, it's all over, and let me at this point also thank all those who called in. But Mr. Governor, just a final word from you.
Yes, I seize the opportunity to thank you and to congratulate not only you but the entire people of Gombe, Bauchi, the wider north, and Nigeria at large. This is an opportunity and is a window that has opened, and by God's grace, we shall not disappoint them. We'll work hard enough, and I believe Mr. President will be the happiest, guiding us through this, getting to this level. And I congratulate him as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
And so let us also say a big thank you to Professor Ken Ife, a development economist, who's always obliging us and coming on programs like this. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you. All right. And once more, a big thank you to Mr. Governor. Thank you. So our thanks to you too for being part of this program. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stover. Continue to stay safe.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Preview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the You Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app. Your access to real-time information. Thank you.